Angles and angle measure. When we're talking about these angles in standard position, we're talking about an angle on a coordinate system where the vertex is at the origin and its initial arm is the positive x-axis. So just like we were talking with the radians when we were looking at all those different angles, we're always measuring from the positive x-axis and in a counterclockwise direction. So angle in standard position, the position of an angle when its initial arm is on the positive x-axis and its vertex is at the origin of a coordinate grid. And it doesn't say there, but you measure in a counterclockwise direction. Draw a standard position angle theta. So when we draw that, here's the initial arm, that red arrow, and it should be right on the x-axis. I drew it a little below, and then we can do a terminal arm wherever we want. I'm going to put it there. That's the terminal arm. The angle that we're talking about is the angle measured from the initial arm to the terminal arm. And the vertex of that angle is right there at the origin. So this line should actually come down and touch, both of those lines should touch that dot. That's the vertex, and it's measured there. That's just an angle in standard position. Positive and negative angles. An angle is positive if we rotate the terminal arm counterclockwise, and negative if we rotate the terminal arm clockwise. So usually we talk about positive angles, but this one asks us draw 120 degrees. So the initial arm is going to be on the x-axis. The terminal arm will be at where 120 degrees would be. So that's like 2 pi over 3, 2/3, 120 degrees. Well, it actually looks a lot like the one I drew, doesn't it? That would be 120 degrees here. But when it asks to draw negative 120 degrees, initial arm's still at the same spot, but instead of going counterclockwise 120 degrees, we're going to go clockwise 120 degrees and end up down here. Reference angle is the angle formed between the terminal arm and the x-axis. So find the reference angle of 150 degrees. So 150 degrees, we'll draw that first. That would be around there. A 150 degrees is called the principal angle. The principal angle is if you have an angle drawn in standard position, it's measured from the x-axis in the positive direction, so counterclockwise, and it's between 0 and 360. So 150 here would be the principal angle, but the reference angle, it says it's the angle formed between the terminal arm and the x-axis. So it's the closest x-axis. It's actually in here, that little blue bit. That's the reference angle. Because we go from that terminal arm to however we can get close as fastest to the x-axis. So some cases it's going down, sometimes it's going up. But this one, we go down, and what would you call that angle? What would the measure of it be? 30. So I'm just going to say theta r for a reference angle for this one is 30 degrees. Co-terminal angles. Angles in standard position with the same terminal arms. And it says draw the first positive co-terminal angle of 60 degrees. So we'll start with 60, which is around there. That looks like 60 degrees. But we want another angle that has the same terminal arm, but it's not the same angle. Yeah, so we're going to go all the way around. So I'm going to start at the positive x-axis, and I'm going to do this. Go past that, all the way around to it again. That's a coterminal angle, and that's a positive coterminal angle, because I went in the counterclockwise direction, all the way around, and back to that again. And what would the measure of that angle be? 420. So 360, that's a complete rotation, and then another 60 to get back to where that terminal arm is. So that means that 60 degrees and 420 degrees are coterminal. If I wanted another coterminal angle, I could go all the way around again. And if I went all the way around again, what would that angle measure? 780. Add another 360, right? Oh, and here's that principal angle that we skipped. An angle that exists between 0 and 360 degrees. Find the principal angle of 420 degrees. We already know where 420 degrees is, right? Because we just talked about it. That's why I put this one last. It's all the way around. There's 360 to get to 420. It's another 60. So there it is. That's the principal angle, 420 degrees, because that's the angle we're talking about. Or sorry, that's the angle in standard position. But the principal angle is just, if you didn't do the rotations, it's just that bit that in this case is 60 degrees.